Brandon, I have a question for you.
Yes.
If we took part in the 70s rock scene, would we be band-aids or groupies?
Great question. I thought you were going to ask about what we would say to each other if we died in a plane crash. I was not prepared for this. I think I'd probably be a band-aid. I think there's a little bit more dignity in it, and I feel like I am the type of person who would just wrap cables all day.
True.
You know, instead of just like sleep with the band members. That's not really my speed, I don't think.
Would you want to be the rock reporter, the enemy instead?
I think that would be fun, I have to say.
That would be a
That's
lot
kind
of
of
fun.
what we do right now, is it not?
Kind of, yeah.
Are we the
Imagine
enemy?
if we started this at 15.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we started this at 15, we would have been a lot further along. And maybe one of us would have been famous. Instead, we're almost famous.
Oh, I like that. Welcome back to the Uncultured Pop Culture podcast. This is David, as usual, doing the intro on the fly because I never prep for anything. Joined by my co-host and co-pilot,
Brandon, as usual.
And I'm very happy to report that I am finally wearing the You're Killing Me Small shirt again. I saw it on the bed today, and I put it on even though it made me late for recording.
And you know what? I respect that because we needed an episode like this.
Exactly.
Because we haven't had one in a while. This is an important shirt. It means that you're going to be in for a good episode today, I think.
I agree. I kind of want to say that this might be the first time that I'm wearing this season. Could that be true?
I think that's correct.
That's wild.
That is wild. It's been a while. I mean, what are we on? Like episode 10?
Things are turning around.
Finally, we're going to have something good to talk about. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
But we do actually have some good things to talk about. We have one of the greatest albums of all time by many accounts, which I feel like we've done a lot of this season, I have to say.
Yeah, I feel like that's a theme for this season.
It really is. And then we have a movie that I actually had never heard of until David said we're doing it for the podcast. So I had no frame of reference about anything about this movie. And, you know, that's what I like. I like to go in completely blind.
I knew that we had to do this movie at some point because it obviously deals with music, although it deals with rock, which is, I know, something that you don't listen to that much. I knew that we had to watch it and pair it with a 70s rock album. And what better album to pair it with than Rumours by Fleetwood Mac?
Some would consider among the best rock albums of all time, but also, is it rock? That's a question we'll have to get into.
For sure. But before then.
Yes, before then, I have to ask David, did you watch Project Hail Mary in the past week?
So I did not. No, I'm kidding. I did.
Thank God.
Yes, I literally saw it yesterday. Jennifer and I squeezed it in before we went to a birthday party. And I am very happy to report that I enjoyed it. It's a very fun movie. It's nice to have a movie that also feels hopeful for once.
Yes.
About the future, which I really liked. And I gotta say, the best part of it for sure was the friendship between Rocky and Grace. Like that was any scene with the two of them was just so much fun. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I can absolutely see why people, you know, are going to see it at the movie theaters. It's absolutely that kind of movie. And I'm really happy that this is the movie that's becoming successful. It's a 4 out of 5.
Nice. That's what I assumed.
Not the best movie ever made. Certainly not my favorite of the year, but still just a really fun movie. And I'm happy to report that it is currently in my top 10 list, which is right now at 7 movies, because obviously I still need to fill it out.
Very nice. That's more than the amount of albums that I have liked this year. So,
well, and
it's pretty good.
I have talked about how this movie is a return to form for me. Because last year at this point, I probably had like 2 movies in my top 10.
You mean this year, not this movie?
Yeah, sorry, this year.
Sorry, I was
Oh my God.
confused. Yes.
I was also
get it now.
confused and I didn't even realize that I had done that.
You heard what you said and you were like,
Yeah, I
don't
was
get
like, wait a
it.
second. No, but yeah, this year is a return to form for me at least when it comes to movies. So that's a really nice feeling, honestly.
Movies are so back. We've confirmed this for a few weeks now, which is good.
Yeah, and the box office is also back. So that's a lot of fun too. But with that, I have to ask you, did you listen to anything this week?
No, I spoiled it. I didn't listen to anything. I didn't
Yeah.
watch anything. We have a shorter week this week in between episodes.
Because we had to shift stuff over because I got a job.
Yes, shout out to David being employed.
Yeah, finally.
But also, I could have listened to something this week, and I decided not to because there's nothing that interests me.
Yeah,
So,
don't force it.
exactly. So instead today, I said, you know what? The Brewers suck. I don't want to watch them. I'm going to go out in nature. And I saw a new bird that I've never seen before.
Oh, hell yeah.
Clay-colored sparrow. So shout out to them. They're passing through here right now as they go up to Canada, I believe. Or maybe they're just like mating here and then going back down south. But yeah,
Hell yeah.
been getting into birding. So that's kind of what I listened to today. I heard him and he was very weird,
Yeah.
making like kind of insect-like noises. So
Honestly, birding is underappreciated. I love looking at birds. I know like a few birds that are common in my area, and it's just so much fun seeing them and hearing them sing.
I agree.
I also did want to say I recently went to a cemetery. It was be like the family member's death who had passed, so we went, and the cemetery is the Forest Lawn Cemetery, like that's in the Santa Monica Mountains, and we saw literal deer just walking around the cemetery eating the flowers. So it's always nice to see nature.
Shout out to deer. This guy has never been to Wisconsin before because you just see deer on the side of the road here.
You know, I've never touched grass. I'm a podcaster.
Exactly. And with that, we have to talk about the thing we're podcasting about this week, which is an album. This is Rumours, the 11th album by Fleetwood Mac, released on February 4th, 1977, by Warner Brothers Records. It was supported by 4 singles, of which only one preceded the album, Go Your Own Way, in December of 1976.
Oh,
What can I even say about Fleetwood Mac? They're one of the best-selling bands ever. They originally formed in London, and I think they're like the Beatles in that everyone has heard at least one song by them at some point in their life, even if they didn't know. So with that, David, obviously you've heard of Fleetwood Mac. Have you heard this album before?
I have heard this album before. We have this album on vinyl.
Nice.
And this is one of the 2 albums that I know of theirs quite well. It's this and the album that preceded this one called just Fleetwood Mac. So, yeah, I know it quite well.
Nice.
And yes, I'll spoil it. I am a fan.
Okay, good. I assumed you were because you were excited about doing this album this week.
Oh, yeah.
So John and Christine McVie divorced. Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks were in an on-again, off-again relationship, and Mick Fleetwood's wife was cheating on him. So just a great time overall to be part of this band. They were also faced with intense speculation by the press, leading to them creating a lot of rumors, which of course led to the band naming the album Yesterday's Gone.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know why. That was the working
That was
title
terrible.
for almost the whole time that they were working on this.
That's like a terrible title that I would come up with for a movie, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to insult you, but I do think Yesterday's Gone is a bad title.
Yeah,
just
so.
straight up.
Yeah.
And in case you were wondering, a lot of cocaine was involved in the creation of this album. They wanted to create a pop-forward album and one where every song could be a single, which I think is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I can kind of see that. And you will see that in one of the songs being insanely popular and never being a single. But we'll talk about that when we get to it. They recorded most of the album in this city name that I forgot to look up how to pronounce, Sausalito,
What the
California. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's north of San Francisco in the Bay Area. But my apologies for the bad pronunciation. I don't even know if that's Spanish. I don't know what it is. But shout out to it. They recorded most of it there and then the rest of it in LA. A lot of the songs are about the relationship struggles and breakups that the band members were going through at the time. Surprise, surprise.
Who would have thought?
John suggested that they name the album Rumours because the members were writing the music as if it were their own personal diaries. This is a pop rock and soft rock album. We've done pop rock before, and I would bet you can figure out which 2 genres it is a combination of.
Gee.
Soft rock is a little more nebulous. It's a type of pop rock that's more focused on laid-back atmosphere and clean and polished production. It is the quintessential sound of rock in the late 70s. So David, obviously you've heard this album before. Did you have a score in mind before listening to it?
Going into this, I knew that my favorite songs of Fleetwood Mac were from their preceding album.
The self-titled, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of went into this thinking that like I would obviously still like this, but it would be a little bit lower just because I knew that all my favorite songs, or most of my favorite songs, were from that album. I will say though, I feel like I am a fan of Fleetwood Mac's era when Stevie Nicks was involved, particularly because I'm a big fan of hers. So knowing that like this was one of the albums that she worked on when she was a part of the band did make me think that it would still like have a high score. So I thought maybe like a 4, but I could see the possibility of this being a 3.5 just cuz, maybe not all the songs were going to be at the same level.
So this album had an advance order of 800,000 copies before it was released.
That's wild.
Making it the largest pre-order sales for a Warner Brothers record release.
That's genuinely crazy.
Rumours is ranked number 7 on Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums of All Time list. And it peaked at number 1 in the UK and the US and spent a total of 31 weeks at the top of the Billboard 200.
Jesus Christ.
It is the 11th best-selling album in the history of the UK music industry, as well as the 11th highest certified album by sales in the US. It is certified 2 times diamond in Canada, 17 times platinum in the UK, and 21 times platinum in the US. And Rumours also won Album of the Year at the Grammys in 1978. And I wrote, I don't know if I've heard this album in full. I don't think I have once I listened to it, but I knew I would say 75 to 85% of the songs on here from their compilation album, which I do know very well.
I will say, I feel like you know more of the songs overall than I did.
That's surprising.
Well, because I think it stems from the way that I listen to stuff where I don't really listen to albums, or at least I didn't before.
Yeah.
So I've obviously, I feel like I know a lot of their songs, but from like a large span of albums, more than I do a couple of albums like specifically.
I think you're giving me a little bit more credit because I don't really listen to albums that much either. I'm mostly a songs type of listener.
True.
But still, yeah.
True.
I mean, in a way, a compilation album of greatest hits is just a songs album.
That's true.
It's not an album, but that's beside the point. I have to tell you that this record was executive produced by Fleetwood Mac. All songs were produced and engineered by Richard Dashut and Ken Calais, and it was mastered by Ken Perry and Charlie Watts. And I wrote down your favorite will be Dreams, and your least favorite will be Oh Daddy, and you will give this album a 4. So I was also thinking you would be more positive on it.
That's awesome. I love it.
I also did not know you liked Stevie Nicks that much, which makes me feel even better about picking Dreams as your favorite song because that is her song.
I am a fan of hers. I honestly have not listened to too much of her stuff, but everything that I have listened to, I really love. And I feel something that I have noticed too, my favorite Fleetwood Mac songs, I think tend to be her songs or the songs that she was involved with. So yeah, that's kind of why to me, like she is my favorite member of Fleetwood Mac when she was involved, because I know obviously Fleetwood Mac has like the craziest like history when it comes to like who was involved at what time. It's not like the Beatles. It's like 30 different people going in and out for like 30 years.
It is kind of insane because like the initial lineup, like I didn't even know some of these people, and I was like, I don't want to do a whole history about them if they're not even around. Like
literally, yeah.
I'm sorry, but it was called Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac for a while. He's not even part of the band anymore. Like, who cares?
I know. It's wild.
Can't believe I just brought him up too. No.
I forced you to.
Yeah, I guess so. We do have to start, of course, with track number 1, Secondhand News. This one was written by Lindsey Buckingham. They wanted to give this song the feeling of Celtic rock, so they used a chair as percussion.
Whoa.
Buckingham ended up getting rid of John McVie's complicated and melodic bass line while he was on vacation and replacing it with one that is simpler. And overall, the song was inspired by the Bee Gees' disco sound. So, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The first line of the album is, I know there's nothing to say, which I find to be funny because then they say a bunch of stuff on the album. There's a bit of a classic country vibe here, and I feel like that's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote down, I'm never sold on scatting in general, but honestly, it kind of works here. It's also nice that this is short and upbeat because those songs in general work better for me when we're talking about older music. This one is solid, and I gave it a 3.
Hell yeah.
It's a good opener.
I think this is a great way to start that album. It's very simple and just very fun, which I like. And the production really stood out for me with this song. I also want to say, bring back harmony. Like, please. Why does nobody do it anymore?
People do. It's just not mixed the way that they did it back then, where all voices are like the same level, because you do like catch it a lot more. And also like production's just more complicated now. So
True.
It's easier for stuff to get lost in there. These songs are pretty straightforward, which is nice.
That's a good point. I will say the first time I heard this, I was like, yeah, this is a solid 3.5. But honestly, when I was thinking back to the album, this song, for some reason, like, is a song that I just remembered. Like, it just kept popping into my head. And because of that, I decided, fuck it, I'm going to give this song a 4.
Wow.
We're going to start off that strong, yeah.
I like this.
It just stuck in my head so much that I was like, I have to.
Maybe this should be a little bit higher. Maybe I should go 4.5. I'm not going to. I'm going to go 4.
Hold your horses.
Yeah, I feel like there's a few
Yeah.
songs in here that aren't really at the same level as others on the record.
So
but we'll get there.
we'll get there.
We got to talk about track number 2, Dreams, written by Stevie Nicks. This was the second single in the US, released March 24th, 1977, and the third single in the UK in June of 1977. It peaked at number 24 on the UK singles chart and number 1 on the Hot 100, becoming their first and only number 1 in the US, which I find to be insane.
That's absolutely wild.
Rolling Stone ranked it as their 9th best song ever. And of course, it got famous again in late 2020 from a viral TikTok when it peaked at number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Wild.
So that's also insane. I have a quote here from Stevie Nicks. One day when I wasn't required in the main studio, I took a Fender Rhodes piano and went into another studio that was said to belong to Sly Stone of Sly and the Family Stone. It was a black and red room with a sunken pit in the middle where there was a piano and a big black velvet bed with Victorian drapes. I sat down on the bed with my keyboard in front of me. I found a drum pattern, switched my little cassette player on, and wrote Dreams in about 10 minutes. Right away, I liked the fact I was doing something with a dance beat because that made it a little unusual for me. I love to read these quotes from the big number 1 songs because one thing is always in common. I wrote that song in 10 minutes. That's always how it goes.
Yep.
And I have found that there is something to writing a song in 10 minutes because I feel like it's just meant to come out. But I feel like also it doesn't give you time to hate it and to find things to change about it. It's just like that's such a quick amount of time that's just like I'm going to put that out.
Yeah.
And then that's it. You don't have to think about it anymore. You don't have to think, is this lyric perfect? Is this exactly how I want the melody to sound? It's just done. You don't have to think about it. And that's what makes a good song. It's just something that needs to exist.
It feels like a dream. It comes and goes and leaves you in a haze in a good way.
Stevie Nicks' original vocal recording is the one that they used in the final version of the song.
Wild.
The New York Times liked the drumming in this song, and I agree. This is a note for the whole album. I feel like the drums are very well played and also very well mixed in every song.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
This is Stevie's breakup song and can be seen as a companion piece to Go Your Own Way, which is Lindsay's song about their breakup.
Right.
And I wrote down that I think this is a good song that feels like background music until the chorus really pulls it together. Great musicianship all over this record, but it's songs like this where you can really appreciate the little details. I gave this one a 3 because I feel like the verses aren't as strong as the chorus is, but I can see why it's a hit because that chorus really does hit. Is this your favorite?
The chorus really is a standout, and I think that that's really why this is my favorite on the album.
Let's go.
It's not my favorite Fleetwood Mac song.
What is your favorite? Just out of curiosity. Do you
My
know?
favorite would probably be Landslide.
Interesting. My favorite, I think, is Little Lies.
You know what? I feel like that's one I haven't heard.
That's from, I think, 1987. It's a later one, but it's kind of like a poppier song. I just feel like it's so catchy.
That makes sense because I feel like a lot of their later stuff I also don't really know. But yeah, no, this song is amazing. It feels like the perfect synergy of vocals and production to me. And it also, like, I agree, simplicity is best. It just gets in there, it gets out, and lets the chorus, like, take you. It's kind of hard to even talk about this song. It's a 4.5.
Nice.
It's close to a 5, but ultimately, like I said, there are a couple of songs that I just love even more. So, yeah. But I could listen to this, like, on repeat.
Hell yeah. Shout out Stevie Nicks.
Shout out. She is amazing. I got to throw that out there. Like, genuinely, I guess not underrated because she is well known and popular, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes she just isn't talked enough when it comes to like the best like singers and songwriters, you know?
Track number 3, Never Going Back Again, written by Lindsey Buckingham. Buckingham said that this was the last song written for the album and was written when he was with his rebound girl.
Oh.
And here's a quote from him. Lyrically, it was a bit naive because it was obviously about Stevie. By the time I wrote that, we'd had a few ups and downs, and she'd moved away from me more than once and come back. It was about Stevie, and it was also about meeting somebody else. It seemed to reaffirm that there was life after that, and yet you create this illusion of I was down once or twice, but I'm never going back to that again, which is not really the way it works. Calais said that they had to restring the guitar on this song every 20 minutes to get the desired sound.
Jesus Christ.
I would not show up to work anymore after that day. I hate to say it. So maybe I couldn't be a roadie.
You would be done.
Or a Band-Aid, either way. And I wrote about this song. I hate when artists make this kind of song now because they always try to overwrite everything. This is so simple, and that's where the charm comes from. Easily my favorite song on here. It knows exactly what it is and doesn't try to do anything else. This is a 4.
Hell yeah. Okay, that makes me so happy. Not just because you gave it a 4, but that this is your favorite song, because I really enjoy this song too.
I do think Lindsey Buckingham probably writes my favorite songs for Fleetwood Mac, I will say.
Well, and I will say, like, when I say Stevie Nicks, I honestly mean kind of both of them. Like,
oh, you see them as one unit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Not really. I do see them as like separate, like as each their own, but I feel like the fact that they both came to Fleetwood Mac at the same time and both kind of left at the same time, like to me, like this era of Fleetwood Mac is kind of theirs, like both of theirs, and I feel like they brought the best stuff. I ultimately, my favorite songs are Stevie Nicks's, but I also really like his stuff too.
Man, so fuck Christine McVie, I guess.
No, like they're all obviously talented and they all make great stuff, but I don't know, I feel like they just brought something special. But I do agree, this song it's just really simple, and that makes it amazing. And I love the vintage sound of it. It feels like something that honestly would fit in a Western.
I had that same thought.
Right?
And I said that about another song on here too.
No, there are multiple songs in here for sure. But yeah, the production of this is just so amazing. This is a 3.5 for me, but it is one of those songs that's very close to a 4.
I rated it higher than you. That's crazy. On an old song. See, guys, I like old music. Track number 4, Don't Stop, written by Christine McVie. This was the 3rd single in the US, released June 1977, and the 2nd single in the UK, released April 1977. It peaked at number 32 in the UK, and in the US, number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the Cashbox Top 100, because Cashbox was still doing its thing around this time. That was the alternate Billboard chart, or the alternative to Billboard.
Right.
Christine wrote this about John McVie, who apparently didn't know it was about him until after it was released.
Damn.
She also didn't necessarily confirm this in my mind, saying that it was a feeling that she supposed could have been about John, but nevertheless, everyone interpreted that as meaning it is about him. We get a tack piano on here, which I love, and it's all thanks to the fact that the band didn't really like take number 25, which was the final one they did, and then they ended up scrapping everything but the drums and re-recording it.
Which absolutely is crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
That is a lot of time. Once again, I would have quit if I was in the studio with that. No. It was used multiple times by Bill Clinton's presidential campaign because he liked the message of the song.
Hell yeah.
This song is what I imagine Bruce Springsteen sounds like to people who like him.
Ooh, I can see that.
I obviously won't have this ranked as one of the best albums of all time, but I do understand why people would have it there. One thing that I've never gotten, though, is someone who listens to this kind of music to admit that it's kind of just pop music straight up. Like, I was looking at the lyrics. There's not much to talk about because the lyrics are very straightforward. And I don't think music fans who worship the 60s and 70s realize that a lot of the songwriting present in these songs is the same level of complexity in the present music. This is not to say that old music and Fleetwood Mac songs are poorly written. I just feel like we can admit that this is great standard pop writing, and like there's nothing wrong with liking pop music. And the biggest thing, just because it's old doesn't mean it's better.
I mean, I do agree with that. Its age does not determine how good it is, in my opinion.
Exactly. But then like looking at this song, it's kind of like, yeah, this is like a pop song straight up. And like that's good. I like that. Like, but it doesn't mean it's better than current pop music. It's just different, you know? And even then it's not that different. And then I wrote one little thing on here, which I wrote a few times on the album. That aggressive ass fade out. My God. What is up with that? There's a few of these songs where the fade out is like under 10 seconds and it's just like, whoa, I guess the song is over now.
That was just a thing though. Like they did that all the time in the 70s and
I know,
and 80s.
but like this one was so short. It didn't give you any time to breathe. It was just like the band stopped playing. Quick, we got to fade out the song. Like I didn't understand that. Anyway, I gave the song a 3. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this song. I think it's definitely weaker than Never Gonna Back Down Again. Never gonna what? Oh my God! Whatever the hell that song is called. Again. Yes, thank you. Never going back. I couldn't read for a second. It feels very like disco forward to me.
I can totally
very
see that.
70s, 80s. Yeah, which I think speaks to like your point that it's kind of just a pop song. Yeah, it's definitely like the weakest song so far. It's still a 3 it's still a 3.5 because I still enjoy it. But I do agree that I don't know, the last songs are stronger.
Track number 5, Go Your Own Way, written by Lindsey Buckingham. The lead single, released December 20th, 1976, it peaked at number 38 in the UK and number 10 on both Billboard and Cashbox in the US. It is certified 5 times platinum in the UK, and it was also nominated for the Grammy for Best Pop Vocal Arrangement, which doesn't exist anymore. This was the first song written for the album, written at a house in Florida. When it was shown to producer Ken Calais, he didn't know if it could be anything, which honestly seems like something he said about every song on here at one point or the other. I didn't write that down every time, but pretty much, like, I would say 90% of the songs on here, he was like, I didn't know if it was good. Stevie Nicks also did not like this song, but she would still perform it because the fans liked it so much. And so did Rolling Stone. They called it Fleetwood Mac's best song ever, which is wrong because everyone knows it's Little Lies from 1987. I knew I wrote that down somewhere. The guitar solo in here is actually 6 different takes that are seamlessly stitched together. And Mick Fleetwood said that the drum beat during the solo has an unusual pattern because of his dyslexia, which I'd never really considered, but that's kind of cool.
That's really interesting.
And my final note about this, I remember this song sounding better when I was younger. It's actually whatever. It is catchy though. It's a 2.5.
I mean, I love this song. It's another song that I knew going into this. It literally gets my head nodding. And I actually think this song is similar to Dreams when it comes to the fact that the chorus is the part of the song that just works so well. Like the verses are good, but the chorus just like takes it to another level.
I agree.
I absolutely love this song. This is a 4. I love it.
Track number 6, Songbird. Written by Christine McVie. Christine wrote this song at midnight and ended up staying awake all night to ensure that she wouldn't lose the idea for the song and to wait for someone to record it. They ended up recording the final version of the song in Berkeley, California at the Zellerbach Auditorium to give it that nice sound. And I'm sorry to break everyone's hearts, but I think we know that this is the exact type of song that I don't like. I gave this one a 1.5 and it is easily my least favorite.
Ooh, wow. Yeah.
I assume this will be a standout for you.
Well,
I
feel like I've noticed that for older ballads, they are more hit or miss.
I don't know. I feel like you say that more about newer, maybe ballads are hit or miss, actually.
That's true. I do say that more with like pop ballads nowadays. I don't know. Ultimately, this song to me is just like a pretty good ballad. It's not like crazy good, but it's not bad either. It's a 3.5. I enjoy it, but it's definitely on the lower end of the 3.5s here. And it's not a song that ultimately stands out to me very much. I don't know. If I'm not listening to the album, I won't listen to it. I'll put it like that. But if I am listening to the album, I will.
Interesting. Damn, maybe your scale is a little bit different than I thought. Maybe a 3.5 is average.
No, I feel like the 3 is still average.
Okay.
I feel like this is just like there's something about this where I just can't give it a 3, if you know what I mean. Like, it's just a little too good. I feel like they're very close in this case. I think that's maybe why it's kind of being thrown off a little, because this is a low 3.5, if you know what I mean. Like, it's very close to a 3. So I think maybe that's why there is some sort of crossover. But I think ultimately this is just a very low 3.5. Then again, who knows? Maybe if I return to this could become a 3. Now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know.
Solid 1.5 for me.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't surprised, honestly. I was thinking that this would probably be your least favorite. So
I'm predictable, I guess, in some ways.
we're both predictable in a lot of ways, honestly. But hey, that's the joy of life and the joy of being friends.
And the joy of the podcast, because sometimes we'll surprise you.
It's true. You never know
Like the
when.
band did on track number 7, The Chain, because it's written by Christine McVie, John McVie, Lindsey Buckingham, Mick Fleetwood, and Stevie Nicks.
That's right. Literally everyone.
That's all of them. This is one of the most popular songs by the band, and it wasn't even a single.
That's wild.
It was usually the song that they used to open their live shows, and the BBC and Channel 4 also use it as a theme song for Formula One racing, and it is certified 10 times platinum in the UK.
I'm sorry, but Formula One, that feels kind of random to me. Not gonna lie.
I don't know, you need a song for anything, you know? Like,
True.
you know, here in the US, when we're going to do sports, they make a song. So, like, there's the NFL on Fox theme song, and there's the baseball Night in America theme song. And, you know,
This just feels kind of random to me. I don't know. Whatever.
what you're saying, you don't like the song and you wouldn't want to hear it all the time when you're watching Formula One racing, which is a big deal in Europe? Interesting.
1.5. No kidding.
This song was stitched together from previously recorded and rejected pieces of songs.
Whoa.
And was almost left off of the record because it took them so long to finish it. It got the name The Chain because of its creation being an assembly of different songs chained together. It is the only song credited to all 5 writers in the band's history. Although Buckingham has questioned whether Fleetwood made a meaningful contribution to it. So, yeah.
He was like, fuck that guy.
Exactly. There's a reason they're not a band anymore.
True. That's very true.
Paste ranked it number 1 on their list of Fleetwood Mac's best songs, and Rolling Stone ranked it number 10. And this is the one I wrote. It has a little bit of a Wild West flair that's kind of fun. It reminded me of the idea of a Western, which I think I like more than a Western in practice.
Yeah, true. Well, hey, I feel like there's some Westerns that will speak to you a little bit more.
I hope so.
We'll see.
And another example of the aggressive ass fade out. There was too much coke in the studio, I fear. I rated this song a 3. I think it's very good.
I mean, this is another classic. This is not to the level of Dreams, but it's close. Guitar solo is the best part of the song. Got to throw that out there. And yeah, it's a 4.
Nice.
Not much to add because this song is probably one of their most discussed songs ever, probably.
It's got over 1.5 billion streams, too.
Love it.
That and Dreams both are over 1.5 billion, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Track number 8, You Make Loving Fun, written by Christine McVie. The 4th and final single, released in September 1977, it peaked at number 45 in the UK and number 9 on the Hot 100. This song is about Christine McVie's love affair with the band's lighting director, although she told John it was actually about her dog.
That's fun.
And I wrote one very simple thing here. There is nothing wrong with it, but there's also nothing that is super intriguing about it. It is a solid 2.5.
A song I've never heard, actually, going into this. I like how funky it is. But yeah, it's just a really fun song, and I enjoy it. It's a 3.5. I don't have much to add.
Me neither. Track number 9, I Don't Want to Know, written by Stevie Nicks. This song is actually older than the album. It was written before Stevie and Lindsey joined the band, and when they were performing as a duo. It replaced Stevie's other song, Silver Springs, which was the B-side to Go Your Own Way, and it was intended for the album, but it was too long, so they had to cut it so it would fit on the vinyl. From Stevie, they took me out to the parking lot and said, we're taking Silver Springs off the record because it's too long. Needless to say, I didn't react well to that. Eventually I said, what song are you going to put on the album instead? They said, we recorded I Don't Want to Know, and I think Lindsey thought it would be okay with me because I wrote it, but I wasn't okay with it. That always put a shadow over I Don't Want to Know, unfortunately, even though I love it and it came out great. This is my second favorite song on the album. I wish I had some sort of insight to give, but all I can say is it's catchy and fun, and the guitar at the end goes crazy. I gave this a 3.5. And kind of a track 9 theory. I'm not going to count it, but it is second favorite song. That kind of counts. It's a good song.
That kind of counts. I'll say it counts because we need the track 9 theory to like fight back against the
reverse track 9 theory.
Reverse track 9
the
theory.
evil.
Yeah, the evilness. Yeah, I don't have much to add, honestly. Like, I don't know. I feel like in some ways it's a little bit hard to talk about these songs.
Yep. Much like Dolly Parton, I feel like.
Very, very true. But yeah, it's just a really fun song. It kind of reminds me of the opening song a little bit. And yeah, that's all I have to say. It's a 3.5. I'm really enjoying this so far.
We got 2 left. Track number 10, What I Say to David Every Time I See Him, Oh Daddy. Written by Christine McVie. This is from Calais. The song was called Addie for a while because of a crazy studio accident. We were going to do some overdubs, and while rewinding the tape, a portable tape oscillator fell on the machine, sending it into freewheel. The reels were spinning out of control. I jumped on the machine to stop it and snapped the tape. Oh man. And then it says laughs. We listened back, and there it was. Oh Addie. The D part of Christine's vocal was cut off. My heart sunk. Stevie said it's her favorite song that Christine has ever written. And Mick Fleetwood says it's about him because he was the only father in the band. So shout out, I guess. I can see why this is the least streamed. This one is a 2. That's what I wrote.
Damn. In some ways it works, but something does feel off about it. It just like, it's not a bad song. It's just really weird. Yeah, I feel like when the drums kick in, the song starts to work better for me, which is like, it saved it a little bit, but it's still kind of like a very weird song. Ultimately, it's just very like blah and weird. It's 3.
I agree. You don't like Daddy? I thought you were Daddy Agasarian.
When you say it.
Shout out Armenia, by the way. Shout out Jennifer. Oh my
Fuck
God.
you. Oh my God. Literally 1 second before I was going to say it. I literally before was like, oh, I need to say it. But I wanted to find a good way of bringing it up.
And I found a good way to bring it up.
I'm so mad right
Shout
now.
out Daddy Agasarian. Anyway, we got one final track here. Number 11, Gold Dust Woman, written by Stevie Nicks. And this is from Stevie. Gold Dust Woman was really my symbolic look about somebody going through a bad relationship and doing a lot of drugs and trying to just make it, trying to live, trying to get through it to the next thing. I wrote Gold Dust Woman before we started Rumours, and there weren't that many drugs around back then. It's about groupie type women who would stand around and give Christine and me dirty looks, but as soon as one of the guys came in the room, they were overcome with smiles. Calais says it is the definitive Stevie Nicks vocal performance. I thought I wrote something about this song, but I didn't because I didn't really know what to say. I gave it a 2.5. It's fine. I don't know. I feel like this and Oh Daddy, I don't know. I could cut them off the album and I'd be fine with it. But I see why they exist.
Yeah, I enjoy the song quite a bit. I like the funky production and the harmony that's in it. Yeah, I think it has like a very interesting construction to it. And it's certainly not my favorite or high up there, but it's still a 3.5. Like I still enjoy this song quite a bit.
But we have reached the end of the album. I don't have much to say about the album overall. I think it's solid. I ended up rating it a 3. I had not heard it in full. I'm glad I did hear it in full. And this is one where, like I said, I get how people think this is one of the best albums of all time. I'm glad we listened to it. And David, was I right?
You were absolutely right. This is a 4.
Nice.
Originally, I was like, oh, it should be a 3.5, but I feel like since my average score is 3.5, plus I had a lot of 4s and a 4.5, that should like bump it up. And yeah, I think that it should be a 4 also because I am just a fan of theirs and a fan of this era.
Damn, there goes my question. Are you a fan of Fleetwood Mac?
I am a fan. Well, you can ask the other part of that question that I know you're going to ask.
Well, yes. Should I ask it right now?
Yes, go for it. Why not?
Are you going to listen to this album in full? And or are you going to add some of these songs to playlists?
I will not listen to it in full, but I will add, I mean, I feel like Dreams, Go Your Own Way, and The Chain already are in playlists, and I do want to add Secondhand News to playlists.
Nice.
And I will absolutely listen to those. Will you be adding any of your favorite songs to any playlists?
I did, actually.
Hell yeah.
I added Never Going Back Again, and I added I Don't Want to Know. So pretty good.
That makes me very happy. Yeah, I have a bunch of their other songs in there too, so yeah.
Yeah, me too. Rhiannon too. That's a good
no, I'm
one.
telling you, that album has so many good songs in it. We're going to have to listen to it at some point.
And if you want to see what we're going to listen to a week before the episode comes out, then I guess you have to head over to that Instagram.
Hint, hint.
But this isn't the end of the episode. We got a whole other thing to talk about.
That's right, because we are on our way to being almost famous, which is incidentally the title of the movie that we're talking about.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is a comedy drama, which, interestingly enough, is not, the genre is not biographical.
I think
comedy drama.
it's because he's not famous. He's almost famous. If he was famous, it would have been a biographical film.
Well, I think it's because like a lot of it, like it obviously is based off of Cameron Crowe's real life, but he fictionalized so much of it and like changed all the names and all that kind of stuff that it,
Is that why I've never heard of Stillwater?
yes, we will talk about that.
Their song sounded good, I will say.
Well, we will also talk about that. But before we do, we got to go over the IMDb logline, and you have to tell me what you think. So here goes. A high school boy in the early 1970s is given the chance to write a story for Rolling Stone magazine about an up-and-coming rock band as he accompanies them on their concert tour.
It's a little wordy, but I don't have too many problems with it. It's pretty good.
I think it's all right. I think it misses what the movie is actually about, but it's kind of hard to put that into words, I feel like, concisely.
I am curious about what you think the movie's actually about, because I feel like there's a few different directions you could take it.
Yes, I think
Loving music?
we will talk about it.
I mean, I feel like that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I agree. But first, let me tell you that this film is written and directed by Cameron Crowe. It's produced by Cameron Crowe and Ian Bryce. The cinematography is by John Toll. It's edited by Joe Hutching and Sar Klein. Apologies if I mispronounced those names. The music is by Nancy Wilson, and we will, of course, talk about who wrote the music for Stillwater, specifically, later on. And the film is distributed by DreamWorks, which I don't know if you were surprised to see that. I feel like...
I was.
Yeah, I feel like people only know them in the animation context. We will also talk about that. And, of course, it is rated R.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, you see like some nudity and stuff, and there's obviously like they talk about drugs and
It
stuff.
feels like a PG-13 movie. I don't know.
I agree. I feel like it's just like, oh my God, breasts, put an R rating on it, Like it's that
Can't see those.
situation. Yeah, that's a big no-no. You can see people's head exploding, but breasts, no. The movie stars Billy Crudup, Frances McDormand, Kate Hudson, Jason Lee, Patrick Fugit, apologies if I'm mispronouncing that, and Philip Seymour Hoffman, amongst many others. And yes, you were right. This is literally just Cameron Crowe's life. William's mother in the film is based off of Cameron Crowe's mother. It seems like they're very similar in a lot of ways, although obviously this is a fictionalized version. But Cameron Crowe did start writing music reviews for the school newspaper at age 13. And by age 15, he had already graduated from high school because he had, in fact, skipped 2 grades. He was corresponding with Lester Bangs, who was a real person, and Med Ben Fong Torres, who was also a real person. Their names were not changed for this, who hired him to write for Rolling Stones. So his first job for Rolling Stones was going on the road at age 16 to write a cover story on the Allman Brothers Band. So this is literally just his life. Of course, the Allman Brothers Band was changed to Stillwater. Now, he eventually transitioned to film, made a name for himself with Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Say Anything, and of course, he eventually wrote a script inspired by his life. Now, I wanted to do a little side-by-side of where he got a lot of the things for the script. Obviously, the Allman Brothers Band became Stillwater. Now, Stillwater was actually a small band in the 70s, but they never really achieved big success. And the only common thing that they share with the band in the movie is the name. And as guitarist Bobby Golden said from Stillwater, quote, "They could have probably done it without permission, but they probably would have had a bunch of different lawsuits. Our lawyer got in touch with them. They wanted us to do it for free. And I said, no, we're not doing it for free. So we got a little bit of change out of it," end quote. And that's how they got the name for the film. Just like in the film, Greg Allman of the Allman Brothers Band distrusted Crowe, asking him if he was a narc. And Russell Hammond, meanwhile, was partially based on Glenn Frey of the Eagles. Meanwhile, Russell's I Am a Golden God line is a reference to Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin, who is reported to have said the same thing from a Sunset Strip hotel balcony. The difference, though, is that he was sober.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, well, probably one of the few times he was sober. The plane turbulence scene is also based on a real event. Crowe was on a plane with the members of Alice Cooper's Alice Cooper. A little bit confusing, but that's a person, and then that person's band.
Just a little bit, yeah.
And when turbulence hit the plane, one of the members yelled out, quote, "We're all going to die. I need to confess something," end quote, and then turned to another member and admitted that he was sleeping with his wife. Of course, this was promptly followed by the pilot telling them that they were fine. So the rest of the flight was awkward. Even the electrocution scene, where Russell electrocutes his hand during a concert, is based on the real-life event when Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley was severely electrocuted during a concert on December 12th, 1976 in Lakewood, Florida, which tracks because it's Florida.
They don't have laws down there.
Yeah, exactly, as we all can tell. Penny Lane is also based off of a real person.
The Beatles song?
No, actually.
Okay.
The character
She's a real person.
She is literally a real person. She's a real life friend of Crowe's. Her name is Penny Trumbull, and she would go by, I don't know if she still does, but she went by the name Penny Lane, as she does in the film. And she is, I don't know if she still is, but she for sure was involved with the Flying Garter Girls group, which of course got renamed to the Band-Aids in the film. She lives in Portland, Oregon, and is involved in the music industry. So these are some of the real life events and people that Cameron Crowe adapted into the script. And it was a long script. Do you want to guess how long it was?
Well, I'm scared to now because I guessed whatever 200 something for
Yeah.
the social network.
I
don't
feel
know.
like you overcorrected
I'll go
a little
100,
bit.
145.
It was 172 pages.
Oh, okay, that is a lot. Yeah.
He took it around Hollywood to see if anyone would respond to it. And someone did respond to it. And that was Spielberg, who, of course, we've talked about a lot. And we have talked about how he helped to found. I don't know what the proper
I don't know what you're trying to say.
that is.
Probably found DreamWorks.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
And who we might be talking about next week. Hint, hint. So maybe you want to head
Check it out.
on over to that Instagram and see. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we will literally be talking about him next week. But yeah, DreamWorks was like fairly new. And obviously this was at a point in time when they were trying to ramp up like a live production section and animation section.
And Shrek hadn't come out, so they didn't have a ton of money either.
Exactly. And yet, it seems like they had enough money for this because Spielberg told Crowe to, quote, direct every word, end quote, of the script.
Wow.
And he would. He would direct almost all of the script, of the 172-page script. And so DreamWorks scrounged up $60 million.
Holy shit,
and
that's a lot.
casting began. Yeah, that was the budget of this film.
I mean,
yeah,
I was wondering because like I was watching all the cars drive by and I was like, this can't be that cheap.
Do you want to guess who was originally going to play Russell? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's someone that we have watched in a 90s film on the podcast.
My first thought was Nicolas Cage right away. I don't know why.
No.
In a 90s film.
Yes.
Then my other thought was Michael J. Fox, but we haven't watched him in anything.
Not yet. I will say that 90s film was directed by a director whose film we recently discussed. And by recently, I mean very recently.
Oh my God, it's the racist guy, Mel Gibson.
What?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm out of
haven't
guesses.
seen him in anything.
I know,
Okay.
but we just recently discussed him.
True.
And he sucks.
It was Brad Pitt.
Oh.
Because we saw him in S7 and then we recently discussed another Fincher film.
Oh, that's true. I thought you meant we recently saw that. And I was like, brother, you do not know what year it is.
Brad Pitt.
Okay.
He was originally going to play the part, and it was actually written for him, but he eventually dropped out and admitted that he just couldn't get into it. And I think Cameron Crowe also realized that maybe he wasn't the best fit, which honestly, I am happy because I think it would have just been Brad Pitt on the screen. Like I don't think it would have worked as well. I think Billy Crudup is enough of an unknown, but then is also like a good enough actor and is handsome enough to like make the role work. Someone else was supposed to play Penny Lane as well. It was Sarah Pauli, who I don't know if I've seen anything, but she dropped out when Brad Pitt did. She was like, nah, I'm good. So then Kate Hudson took over. Ironically, she was supposed to play William's sister originally before she got the role of Penny Lane, which of course then went to Zooey Deschanel, who I'm sure that you've heard of before.
Yes.
Yes.
And I've also heard of Jimmy Fallon.
I wanted to see if you would bring that up. If you weren't, I was going to bring it up myself. But yeah.
Yes.
Jump scare.
When I looked this movie up on Letterboxd to see like if it was streaming anywhere, I was like, what the hell? Zooey Deschanel and Jimmy Fallon in like far down in the cast list. I was like, whoa.
I am sad that got ruined for you, that he's in it, because that's honestly like such a funny jump scare now.
It's just fun in general. I didn't think he was ever in anything. Just like straight up.
I mean, I feel like he's just involved with music stuff because he's into music. But anyways, as for Patrick Fugit, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his Fugit. Apologies. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. He was a complete unknown from Salt Lake City and was cast late in the process. Now, honestly, I don't have much to talk about when it comes to production, but filming took 92 days, and locations included San Diego and Los Angeles. It is quite a long film. It's like, I mean, I guess not too long, but it is
just over 2 hours. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Did they not shoot in New York?
They did shoot a little bit in New York.
Okay, I was curious because I was like, that doesn't look like LA to me.
Now, I'm going to give you a fact, and then I'm going to give you a question. At this time, a typical music budget for a film was under 1.5 million.
Oh.
Do you want to guess? Yeah. Do you want to guess what their music budget was for this? And keep in mind, this is they're filming this in like 1999.
I have one question before I answer that.
Yes.
Did they exceed the music budget?
Not that I saw reported.
Okay. 10 million.
It was 3.5.
Oh, my first
still,
thought was 20 million because I know how expensive music is, especially now.
I mean, they did get over 50 songs though.
That is insane. That's great.
It's absolutely insane.
Wow.
And they went to Led Zeppelin and they asked them if they could view some of their music. I believe they like showed them the film, and Led Zeppelin said yes. And I think it was like the first time in forever. I think they've only said yes like twice.
Damn.
Ironically, the first time was for Cameron Crowe's first film, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So I think those might be like two of the only times they've said yes or something like that. Or I guess now they've done it a couple more times, but in any case, this was like big. I will say though, they did not let them use Stairway to Heaven, and because of that, they had to cut a scene from the film where they play Stairway to Heaven. And I can send it to you because it's honestly a scene I like a lot, and I kind of wish it was in the film, but obviously they couldn't put it in. And I will say it is kind of unnecessary to the overall film, but it's just a very well done scene. Like, I just really like the scene. Now let's talk about Stillwater a little bit. The 4 actors that made up Stillwater in the film were rehearsed for 4 hours a night, 5 nights a week for 6 weeks in order to sound like a real band.
Wow.
They put a lot of work into it. And the songs were written by Peter Frampton, who was also a consultant on the film, who was, of course, a big name in the rock world, as well as Cameron Crowe and his ex-wife, Nancy Wilson, of the rock band Heart.
Wow.
Yeah, so they wrote all the songs. And in the music acknowledgments in the credits, the movie credits Russell Hammond and Stillwater as if they were real authors and performers.
I did notice that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I really like, which I also does, but I feel like probably did confuse some people who were like, wait, are they real or not? And the answer is no, they're not, but they were still credited, which I do like. Frances McDormand's character, as I said before, is of course based off of Cameron Crowe's real mother. She came on set to keep an eye on him.
Like when he was making this movie?
This movie.
Jesus.
She turned up on set to look at, to keep an eye on him. And Crowe was like, oh my God, I need to keep her away from Frances McDormand because McDormand's literally playing her, only to come on set and find them eating lunch together. They became good friends.
Nice.
Philip Seymour Hoffman's schedule only allowed him to be on set for 4 days, and he had the flu the entire time.
Jesus.
Yes, and yet he's Philip Seymour Hoffman, so he can't turn in a bad performance, literally. The movie premiered at the Toronto Film Festival, and started off with a limited release on September 12th, 2000, before opening wide on September 22nd, 2000. And it bombed. It made $47 million on a budget of $60 million.
Damn, that's terrible.
Yeah. It did not do great at the box office, but it received critical acclaim from critics, in particular for the performances of Kate Hudson and Frances McDormand. And they led the nominations at the 73rd Academy Awards for the film. Both of them were nominated for Best Supporting Actress, while Crowe was nominated for Original Screenplay, and the editors, Joe Hutching and Sar Klein, were nominated for Best Film Editing. And Cameron Crowe won the only Oscar for this film for Best Original Screenplay.
Original Screenplay is interesting because it's based on his life.
Yes. I feel like because it was like so fictionalized, maybe that's why. But ultimately, I don't know. The Academy Awards, like their rules, I feel like change so much.
Yeah, I don't get it because like most of the time when you're writing what you know, as they always say to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is like stuff that happened in real life that's fictionalized. So where do you draw the line? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
But anyway, I have no qualms calling this an original screenplay. I don't think
me neither.
I think adapted versus original is kind of stupid anyway, and adapted should only be like if it's some legit thing you're adapting from.
I agree. I think the Barbie movie should have been in Best Original. Like that doesn't make any sense
Yes,
to me. Yes, it's
another
based
one of
off
those
a
where
toy,
it's like,
but it's an original
it's
story.
a toy.
Yeah, like the toy's
Like,
not going
come
to
on,
give you a
people.
freaking story.
What are we
anyways,
doing?
Yeah, it's idiotic. But I wanted to ask you, I believe that I told you that this was a movie about rock music.
You did.
I did. So keeping that in mind, what were you imagining going into the film? And was it what you thought it was going to be?
I don't know that I imagined anything going into the film because I kind of just was like, I imagined Jimmy Fallon would be in it, and I did not think he would look the way he did.
Yeah.
That was my first thought. Like, I knew we'd follow the kid, and Patrick Fu.
You can say his character's name, William. Yes.
William. Yes. I knew we were going to follow William, but I didn't know to what extent we were going to follow William and how much like other characters would have their own stories, I guess. But a lot of it really revolved around him.
Thoughts on the way that this handles rock and music in general? Did it change your perception of rock, or did it just like speak to why you like music?
In some ways, yes. I feel like, I don't know, it's hard to talk about. And like,
It is.
it's as evidenced by us on this episode, you know, like
Yes.
what can we say, you know, that hasn't been
Yeah.
said before. And I feel like music is also interesting because it either touches you or it doesn't. And when it does, that's when it's like, I really want to talk about this. I have so many things to say. And when it doesn't, or it's just like, okay, then it's kind of like, what is there to say?
I agree.
However, I will say when it's extremely negative, then it's kind of like, okay, then now you have more to talk about. You know, when you have the polar opposites, then there's a lot to say.
It's interesting because obviously this is a film about rock music. You know, it's set in the 70s. It is obviously based off Cameron Crowe's life, and you can tell that he is a fan of rock music and a fan of this period.
In music in general.
Yes, and music in general. But it's interesting because I think that music is, like you said, very hard to talk about and really hard to take out of the abstract and put into something that's a little bit more tangible. And I think a big reason why this film works for me is because the way that Cameron Crowe did that was he showed us music can affect us by focusing on the relationships in the films, specifically the relationship between William, Penny Lane, and Russell, like that little circle. And I think that's really why
Triangle.
Same thing.
There's 3 of them.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's like,
Have you ever
don't
heard of
know.
the term love triangle before?
yes,
I feel like that perfectly describes this.
that's true. That's true. Okay. But I know, I feel like if you think about it, like a love triangle does not have much to do with rock, but I feel like Cameron Crowe like grounds like the reason why we love music and the way it connects us within that triangle, kind of.
It also talks, like they talk about songwriting as well. And like, you know,
True.
a love triangle
That's
is
true.
kind of the basis, that can be the basis of songs.
Yeah.
And like, You know, songs are the basis of music and like how we talk about music. So in a way, like it is kind of all connected.
That's a very good point. No, and I think that, like, literally what you said is why I think I've always loved this movie. Aside from the fact that it's just a very fun and I think beautifully made movie, in my opinion. And I gotta shout out Kate Hudson because she absolutely steals this film. She is amazing. I also do think that Billy Crudup, though, was underrated. Like his phone conversation with Frances McDormand is, I think, one of the best scenes in this film. But now I'm honestly out of questions, so I kind of want to kick it to you. I know that you wrote some stuff down, and now that I've kind of got my thoughts out of the way, I want to hear just your general thoughts or whatever you wrote down about this film.
Well, David, it's time for the weekly part where we disagree.
Oh no,
I didn't hate this. Let me start it with that.
Okay, I'm happy about that.
I wasn't like,
I'm
this
gonna
is the
throw
worst
out
thing
a
I've ever
3.
seen. Okay. We're going to start it off with something I've said many times before on this podcast. I am not sure what I'm supposed to take away from this movie. I thought there were some well-written lines here and ideas, but they all felt a little heavy-handed and muddled. And I think back to the Ferris Bueller quote from last week, life moves pretty fast, all that kind of stuff. And I could see how that feels too on the nose. But to me, it felt like there was a little more sincerity to it than some of the ways they were talking about music in this film. I don't know how to quantify that. I feel like it might just come down to the actors' performances. And I enjoyed Matthew Broderick's a little bit more than Patrick Williams.
Just say Patrick.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not saying his last name. I'm sorry. I've had a hard time trying to figure out my thoughts on this movie. So I read a few Letterboxd reviews, and I'm going to bring those up later, but I'm going to say a few other things here. I kind of had a problem with William as a character because to me it felt like he existed to be a savior to other people, which I didn't necessarily find that compelling. It kind of felt creepy, and part of that's the age gap. Part of that is like the point of the story is like, you know, there's young girls being exploited, but I don't know if it was handled in a way that I liked necessarily. It kind of just came off like a little like, I don't know. I didn't love it entirely. No offense to Patrick, but I don't know. I wasn't moved by his performance particularly. There were a lot of times where I could tell he was acting and I was just kind of like, eh.
I think he gives a very, I think there
are a lot of times where he's good though, I will say.
I agree that his performance is the weakest, but I do think that it works in the sense that he is a super naive kid that's thrust into like a situation where people are acting very adult around him, and he is trying to pretend that he knows what that is, but he doesn't. So I think that's the way that I always interpreted his performance and why it does ultimately work for me. Although I do agree that like when he's on the screen with the other actors, he stands out a little bit because his performance is a little bit weaker.
I liked some of that, what he was doing, where he's like, you can tell he's acting older than he is. I feel like the parts that I struggled with were when he was showing emotion, that I didn't necessarily connect to it as much.
I can see that. Yeah, no, I can totally see that.
But now I have a Letterboxd review here, and I looked up these people's names so I can credit them properly. This is Joel Haver. I don't know if I said that right. I think I needed to see this in middle school or high school to truly love it. It feels a bit lame now, kind of like your uncle reminiscing on how awesome classic rock was and how no one makes anything good anymore. It also leans too heavily on filling itself with good music and thinking that's enough to make a good movie. What does a scene of everyone singing Tiny Dancer tell us other than Tiny Dancer is awesome? I know that Tiny Dancer is awesome. I know that. Now, I don't fully agree with everything there, but I think he brings up some interesting points. I liked the Tiny Dancer scene. I thought it worked, and it's fun because it's just like, this is what music does. It brings people together, even when things are bad. I do agree with the point of there was a little bit, I don't know, too much focus on the music, which I don't want to say, but I did say it.
You did.
And I feel like the story was lacking just a little bit. And I don't want to like that to be the trade-off because I always want good music in a film. And I feel like the music is so good in this movie, and that's why it works. And that's why like my attention was kept the whole time. I feel like the story was just the thing that I was like, I don't know. But I do have one other thing. This is from an overwhelmingly negative review. I think it was a 5-star review, but it does point to something that I had a problem with. This is not at fully what I think. This is from Tucson on Letterboxd. Penny Lane herself is this really, really, really strange thought process on a victim. Make no mistake, Penny Lane is a victim. Always trying to vie for control and be dominant in her relationships. therefore making her relationship with Russell okay, because she might be leading him on or manipulating him. It's so fucking bizarre. I don't know how to describe it. And I do think that points to something that I was like kind of confused about the whole time. I don't know that, like, we talked about Mad Max Fury Road and how there was a lot of care when writing these women and there was a lot of research put into it. This was one where I felt like it feels like a man writing a woman, and I didn't
I can
really
see that.
like that much, which, that's kind of like to each their own. My last thought, I think mostly the way the male characters are presented is the main problem of the story to me. Maybe this is Dangerous Liaisons all over again, where it's like, I don't think I care about watching a story about bad people. Maybe some of that comes from the fact that the industries I like, or just generally people in positions of power, are bad in real life. I don't think that's a lesson we as a society need to collectively keep learning. I hope we know it, and if we don't, we deserve what's coming for us. It's kind of just a guy movie, which isn't bad because there's a lot of guys in it. There's a lot of guys kind of, I don't want to say justifying their bad behavior because they don't, but not fully addressing it. So ultimately, I rated this movie a 2.5. I was thinking about 2.5 or 3. It does not get the tag, "This is why I don't watch movies," because I don't think it was like overwhelmingly bad. And there are good things and things to like here.
Yeah.
And it tells an interesting story a lot of the time. And the music is really good. And there's some nice shots and some nice moments. And I feel like there's some nice lines of dialogue as well about how music kind of is the greatest thing ever. So ultimately, I agree with that. I just don't know fully how I'm supposed to feel after watching it.
I can see that. Yeah. No, I do agree with like a lot of what was there. I think in some ways, the way that I always interpreted was like, these are obviously guys that are taking advantage of the Band-Aids, and these are very messy situations. And I think that for me, the way I always interpreted it was, William's cover story is something that would like be in some ways a problem for the band, because it would show a lot of that. And I think that in some ways Russell's ownership of what they did by admitting that everything was right in it is in some ways like him owning up to maybe the problems and the problematic things he's done. I'm not saying that like that excuses what he did or what any of the other members at all.
Yeah, no, of course.
But I do think that for me, that's the way that I always interpreted that. When it comes to Penny Lane as a character, I don't know. I feel like she is just, what was in the review that you read is kind of simplistic when it comes to like interpreting her character. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. I don't know. I also feel like I'm not in a place to speak about it though. Like I'm not qualified. But I mean, I do want to speak to your point about this is a movie that will stay with you if you watch in high school. I watched this like during COVID.
I will say that was not my point, and I don't know that I fully agree with it, but it is something that people have said that I think is important to bring up because it is a movie about coming of age,
Yes, and I do want to say, not only am I a fan of rock and a fan of coming of age stories, I saw this during COVID, maybe like a year out of high school. And I think that is also a big reason why this did connect with me. In some ways, this feels like a perfect whirlwind to me when it comes to a movie because it has so many elements in it that I appreciate when it comes to films. And I have also found Penny Lane's character to be just a very very sad character considering how she is used in this film. But I think something that always stood out to me about her is the way that she doesn't let that like dim her spirit. Like she's willing to continue like just being a totally original person, which I think is something that always stood out to me and something that always made me like the film even more. So yeah, I think that's ultimately why the film has always really spoken to me, aside from the fact that I think it's just a very well-made coming-of-age movie and a movie about rock that I really love as a fan of rock that uses a lot of great music, to your point.
I think also another thing that could make this work better is if you know a lot more about that time period and that's like that music had a big impact on you. Like, I'm not saying that that's required for this movie, and I don't think it is. I don't know that that would change the way I feel about it, but I do think that is another added layer of like, I'm going to like it more just because I know so much about this. And I'm hearing the songs that I grew up with that changed my life, So
Absolutely.
like that's huge for anybody. That's why I feel like, all the music I talk about on here that I'm like, this is amazing. Somebody should put this in a movie. Like when that happens, I'm probably going to like that movie. Now,
We got to find that movie.
Bottoms and Party for You, not necessarily, that didn't work. You still need a good story. So I feel like this is, I don't know. I didn't want to give it a 2.5. I kind of wanted to give it a 3, but I was like, I don't know. It comes back to that rewatchability factor for me. It's probably going to be the highest 2.5 though.
I also don't think that you should force yourself to like try and like something more because you feel like you should.
Yeah. I don't think I do ultimately, which is kind of why I gave this a 2.5. Exactly. A lot of the reviews are in the 4 to 5 range on Letterboxd. And then every now and then you get a half star or a 1 star. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be annoying and take the middle position where I'm like, there are good things and there are bad things about this movie.
Yeah, it's interesting because I fall into the 5 camp. This is a 5 for me.
Nice.
I think because it is just a movie that's very dear to my heart.
You're on a run, and I have to say right now, 5s.
Run.
This is pretty crazy.
I will say, I feel like we're breaking it up though this season. Like I have some runs here and there, but it's not going to be like 25s the way it was last season.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Who knows? I feel like some of these movies you're going to watch and you're going to be like, damn, actually that was that good. I should give it a 5.
But I mean, yeah, this is a 5 because it is a movie that is just very near and dear to my heart. I will say it's one of those 5s where I'm like, yeah, it has problems. I do agree that like,
it's not a perfect 5.
It's not a perfect 5. Like I think in some ways it's a little bit messy, and I do agree that you can like tell that it was written by a man, but it's still a film that is very near and dear to my heart. And I don't know, I can rewatch this film a lot. Like there's just something about it. It has a certain charm to it, which I think a lot of Cameron Crowe's films have.
I am curious about his other stuff. I didn't know he did Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which people talk about all the time as like a John Hughes-esque movie.
Yeah. So. And it's a film that I haven't seen, so we're going to have to watch it at some point.
All right.
I've seen, out of his stuff, I think the only other thing I've seen is Say Anything, which is also like a team romance drama, and it is a very good film. Like I really enjoyed that film. Jennifer showed it to me for the first time, and one of the characters in that film is played by John Mahoney, who plays Frasier's dad in the best sitcom of all time, Frasier.
Whoa, hot take.
Yeah.
Shout out Kelsey Grammer.
No, don't shout out him. I am not a fan of his, but I am a fan of David Hyde Pierce, who plays his brother, who is a great person. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. I don't have much to add to the
Nice. We'll end the movie on Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah, Kelsey Grammer. No.
We'll end the movie at it being a 5 for you.
Yeah.
Which is good. We've had a run.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I would be a Band-Aid and I would be like making drinks for them without like drugs. I would not put drugs in there. And I would not put drugs for them in other people's drinks either. I would not. That's not who I am. I would not be doing roofies.
You have a moral compass.
Yes. You guys are safe with me. That's right.
Better than most of the men in the band. So
yes.
Shout out to you.
Exactly.
I think that takes us to the end of the episode.
A little bit of a shorter episode, but hey, I think you need those every once in a while.
I mean, maybe. We'll see what happens when I get into the editing booth. Maybe I'll only cut out 1 minute here. Who knows?
Or maybe you'll add like 20 minutes from another episode.
Exactly.
Randomly.
Yeah, just some random thing. I'm going to get rid of the part where I said I didn't listen to anything and just put in some different album.
Yes. Where you talk about it for like 30 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. And this will be the longest episode ever, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we have so much to say. But we actually will have a lot to say next week because I don't want to spoil it too much, but it is like the Memorial Day weekend. And if you can think back to what we did last year, we did a big movie. We did a big album. And that's what we're going to be doing next week.
It's kind of a
So if you want to see what those are.
Blockbuster episode.
Exactly. A blockbuster episode. So if you want to see what those are, you might want to head on over to that Instagram where it will be up right now and you can see what we are watching and listening to in preparation for next week's episode. And David, if they want to support the show, where can they do that?
The ways that you can support our podcast are liking our podcast, giving it a rating here on Spotify or on other streaming sites, leaving a review on Apple Music, or sorry, Apple Podcasts, I should say, which is, I think, the only site that allows like written reviews, and leaving comments, because I think those also help us with engagement. And tell your family, tell your friends, tell your enemies, because hey, maybe you will finally agree with your enemies the way that Brandon and I gave similar scores on some of the songs, I think.
A few times, yeah. And make sure you tell any man who has a woman's name and any woman who has a man's name about this episode, because I think they will like Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks.
True. That's very true. And if you want to tell us who those people are, you can email us where, Brandon? upcpod@gmail.com. If you want to see all those links, that's in our link tree. That's in the description of this episode. That is on our Instagram. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say we are posting on Instagram. We are posting on TikTok. We are posting on YouTube Shorts. Amazing content for you to watch. David covers the box office. I cover New Music Fridays. So if that's something you're into, then you should probably check us out there. I think that about covers it. That does.
And we're going to see you next week for a blockbuster episode, like David said.
Bye.